Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Bales. I'm at FantasyLabs, and welcome to our player model tool. This is the foundation of FantasyLabs and really where you ultimately create models, rate players, and build lineups. So the idea here is to give you everything you need to build your own daily fantasy models really quickly, and then know immediately if it's a good model. So we're looking at quarterbacks on DraftKings. You can select your daily fantasy site. You can select the position that you would like to model, and there'll be different stats for each. So we're looking at quarterbacks here. You can see all of the data that we have: opponent data, Vegas, passing stats, rushing, red zone, weather, fantasy specific stats. We just want to provide you with as much data as we can for you to make good decisions. So if you would like to create your own model, there are sliders here on the right, and you weight them as you'd like. You have 100 points to spend, so when you move them around, it's going to give weight to that particular stat more or less relative to the others. So we'll just mess with this. We're going to click update, and this number is going to change. This is the plus minus. It's how many points above or below expected the top 5% of players in this particular model would have scored in the past. So it's really just a way to immediately rate the model. Hey, would this have done a good job at finding daily fantasy value in the past? And it's all based off of historical performance and salary data on the DFS site. So we know how many points players should score based on their cost. And we can compare that to what they did score to find beneficial situations. So just messed with this a bit without really looking. Click update, and so the plus minus went down. So this particular model produced less value in the past. You can also click and you can sort of see the performance in different buckets and the R value. And then you can also select pro models if you'd like. So you can add models you can open, and here are just different models that I've created, and you can look at pro models. So if you wanted to use Peter Jennings, CSU Ram 88's model, you can click on that, and he'll have different weights over here on the right, and that will be, I have to go back to the date that I was on, and that'll show basically what he cares about and how his particular model has produced in the past. So 4.04 points above expectation, and then you can edit those. I really suggest you build your own model and play around with it, just because you can very quickly find out what works. So once you've created a model, you can build a lineup. You can optimize it, which is a true mathematically optimal lineup. You can lock in players and then optimize. So let's say you really like Cam Newton here, and Devontae Freeman in a given week. You can lock those players in and then optimize around that, and then that'll give you the highest possible projected lineup. You can also generate multiple lineups. I'll have a different video on this, but very quickly you can pick the number of lineups you like, set a few different parameters, so min salary cap, the max amount of exposure you'd want to players, and then we'll give you 10 lineups, and you can save these lineups if you'd like. So you can save them, they'll go to the My Lineups page, and then you can easily export those to the DFS sites. We also have recent news, and then a new stacks feature, which I'll have another video on. I'll have more tutorials on all of these different features, but you can just quickly build stacks to optimize for different things. So these are the top quarterback receiver pairs based on cumulative rating. So if we look at the rating of Eli Manning, he's number 2 in quarterbacks. If we look at Ruben Randall, he was number 1. So that's obvious. They're going to be top. We have the salary, the rating. We could do projected plus minus, which is how many points we have projected above or below what we should expect based on their cost. And then we get a different stack there, and you can lock that in, and it'll go into the optimizer. And again, I'll have more specific tutorials centered around all of these different features. But the core of this is just being able to build lineups off of models that you create and immediately backtest, and also giving you the ability to visualize a whole bunch of different relevant data and ultimately create winning lineups.